Welcome back to the show, riskfeestaxes.com, Higher Ground Financial Group. I'm Daniel Razvi. I'm here with the founder of Higher Ground, Imran Razvi.
Hello, I love working with my son. It's a great opportunity to help people. And we always get in these questions. And, a couple of years ago, it went viral. There's these people on TV and everything walking around with this number. What is your number? What is your number?
Right.
And, it used to be about $1 million. And that's what the people were saying. But why? Why $1 million? Everybody's different.
Because when I have $1 million, I can retire. That's what I need, $1 million.
Well, you know what? $1 million for you may not go as far as $1 million for me. I don't spend as much. Or $1 million, or I might need $2 million or $3 million. What is your magic number? And that's what they were going after. But they found the average person felt that they had $1 million, then that would be fine. But guess what happened? Inflation. Inflation's really bad.
How bad is inflation?
Inflation is so bad that now I have to get a cosigner to pay cash. So anyway,
inflation is very bad. Yeah.
How does that affect this number? The number used to be $1 million. Now, in fact, was it Northwestern Mutual? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
they came out with it. The new survey is added 200,000 more. It was 1.2 million. Now it's 1.4 million.
And then it's 1.6. Is it 1.4?
1.4 now. 1.45 is what they're saying is the average needed to be comfortable in retirement. And being comfortable is also a rather innocuous word. I mean, what is comfortable? I mean, am I comfortable in a chair, a rocking chair, or on the beach? I think I'm more comfortable on the beach.
Yeah, it depends on the person, right? Because we've had clients that come into us and say, I can't imagine spending less than $30,000 a month, ever. And we have other clients, they're like, they can't imagine how to spend more than $3,000 in a month in retirement. So it depends on your perspective, right? What are you used to? And not everybody is after just more spending and money. And well, some people wanted to spend more time with their kids and grandkids, and they'd rather have experiences rather than stuff. And so everybody spends differently. But the real question is not so much what does the average person want, it's what you want. And it's not so more important how much do you have total, it's how much can you spend.
Yeah, that's a big key because, if your car has better gas mileage, same amount of gas will take you a lot longer.
Exactly.
And that's kind of the same thing with your money. If you're getting a better bang out of your buck, more money coming out, more income producing money, then you could last longer than somebody that is, has to take out less money out because they have not done the proper planning.
And so you can go to our website to find out how much gas you have in your tank. And it's riskfeestaxes.com. So go there and click on the link and schedule a free video call with our team.
But not just how much gas you have in the tank, but how can you make that gas last longer? How can you get better gas mileage? Because the traditional method is the 4% rule, right? So what is the 4% rule? 4% rule has been around for a long time. And sometimes they adjusted. I mean, last year they said it went down to 3.7%. Now somebody online is saying it's 4.4%, 4.6%. But really, it's not really that simple. The 4% rule has kind of been the same for, 30 years. And even though you'll be getting double-digit returns, 4% is based on how much can you take out safely and still have a modicum of chance of having money when you die.
Exactly. And so some people taking just the 4% rule, like if you retired in the year 2000, even taking out 4% with inflation, you would have been out of money in maybe a dozen years or so. But if you retired in 2017, you could have taken out, or 2018, let's say, you could have taken out 4% and you'd have probably twice as much money today as you ever had. So it's really dependent on when the bad years come. That's the important thing. It's not about whether they're going to come. There will be bad years. The question is, when do they come and what do you do in those bad years? You need to have money that you can draw from that's not in the market. And if you do, then it doesn't matter when the bad years come because the market will do well if you wait long enough.
I mean, we all like surprises, but I don't like bad surprises.
Yeah, good surprises are better.
Right. Good surprise is great. A clown popping out in the middle of the night somewhere. No, not a good surprise.
And so we want to make sure that when those bad years come, you're not surprised by it. You expect it. That's what we'd say about taxes too, right? You should expect to pay taxes. Right. Always, if you expect to pay taxes, then you're not surprised when you have to, and you can make a plan to pay less.
And there's a difference. Expecting to do something doesn't mean you want to do it. Okay, it's just you are prepared to do it, right? If you're prepared, then those things cannot derail your whole plan because you have a plan. You're prepared. So what we want to do is help you prepare because if you're not prepared, it's going to catch you off guard and it's going to cause you to have problems that you may not be able to survive from, meaning that you may run out of money, you may have a major drawdown, and how do you recover from that? Who's going to get a job at 83 years old?
In fact, there was another study that I saw recently that said Americans generally are more afraid of running out of money than they are of dying.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, dying, you're done. You don't have to have money anymore to live. But if you run out of money, what are you going to do? You're going to go to your friends? You're going to go to your parents are gone.
So that's why people keep raising that number they think is enough to survive. But just having 1.4 million, even if that is your number, just having that in your bank account doesn't actually make you able to be sure that you're not running out of money.
Yeah, you're still hoarding it. It's like still not spending. In fact, Daniel has a word for that. What is somebody that's been saving for a long time can't spend?
Yeah, a pathological saver. So if you've been saving and you can't figure out how to spend money, then you're a pathological saver. And
don't worry, there are solutions for that. In fact, our firm, Higher Ground Financial Group, we do help our clients see how not only what they can spend, but give them reasons to spend the money, give them ideas on how they can spend the money and not have to worry. Because many times, if you've been, scrimping and saving and just putting everything away for retirement and living that, life of simplicity, and now you have all this money, don't let it go to the government. Don't let it go wasted. Let's see how we can do it. And even if you feel I'm going to leave it to charity, why leave it to charity when you die? You don't get any benefits.
Yeah, you get the deduction now. You don't get a deduction when you die, right? It goes against your estate tax maybe, but there's no extra benefit you get. So we talked with the client recently about that. And, he wanted to give a bunch of his money to charity. And the reason he hadn't given because he wasn't sure if he gave too much now, then he might not have enough for himself. So we were able to set up an income stream for him. So he knew it was always guaranteed to have a certain amount of money. And then when he died, there wouldn't be anything left in that account, but that allows him to give the other money to charity today. So he doesn't have to worry about his income, and he gets a deduction for the charitable giving now and recognition because now he gets invited to all these donor events and everything for the organization he gave to. So it's a really good option, but you don't want to give large amounts of money away unless you know where your income's going to come from.
Right. And also, I've heard that you can actually pretend to give some money away and get the deduction now, but actually stretch it out over a long period of time. How's that?
Yeah. So as an attorney, I probably wouldn't want to always use the word pretend. It's what it feels like though, right? So it does feel like pretending to give them money away. If you put it in a certain type of trust, in a charitable trust, then you get a partial deduction for it now, even though you haven't really given the money to charity because it goes to charity when you die. But because the remainder is going to go to charity, the IRS gives you a partial deduction today. And it could be a huge deduction, just not for the entire balance.
And what if I want the entire balance deduction? I mean, is there something called a donor advised?
Yeah. So with the donor advised fund, you can actually put the whole thing, all the stock in there now. You get the deduction for the entire amount. And then you can choose which charity to give it to later. So you don't have to actually give it to the charity today.
See, that's one thing that I really liked about working with Daniel, right? He wants you to be more in control. Why have the situation control you? And so if you put together what is it you want as a fiduciary, our job is to really put together a plan to meet those desires that you have. And when you have a plan, you get to decide instead of having the world decide for you. Because, all kidding aside, the government has rules, and many of the rules are really designed for protection in place, right? To protect you. But you can't have the same rule for everyone. It doesn't work the same. Some people get hurt by it. Some people gain a lot more by it. But knowing the rules, and that's where you need a tax attorney. Daniel's a tax attorney. You need a tax attorney to really understand what rules there are, what you can play by, and what things you can take advantage of in a real good way, because the government said, hey, if you do this, we will help you do this. And so knowing those and putting a plan together makes much more sense than just, I'm good, I'm just go along. Okay, I'm just go along to get along, and boom. Oh, man, all this money's lost. I've been saving it all my life, and half of it's going to the government instead of my kids.
And the other half went to the market crash.
Yeah.
So you got the taxes and the market crash. That's why we talk about three killers, right? Not just one, all three: risk, fees, and taxes. It's really important to minimize all three of those. And that way, when you plan for that all revolves around income planning. How much are you going to actually spend every year? And how do you do that after taxes with the best result, with the most optimal result?
And that brings us back to, what is your number? Okay. Many people don't really know because they hear all these different things. And now if you're saying Northwestern Mutual said $1.45 million, that's what you need. Why? Is that going to be enough for you? It may not be.
And that's the average person. I mean, some people, they don't need nearly as much. Some people need a lot more, depending on what their lifestyle is and what their desired spending is.
Yeah. So if you want to know what your number is, make an appointment at riskfeestaxes.com, and we're going to take a look at what your spending habits are, what you're trying to do, and we'll show you what it is that you need. In fact, majority of our clients have saved $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, $10 million. We had people with 60, 80, $100 million saved, and they're different problems. Everybody has problems, right? But many of our clients, when they come to us, they've already got it more than enough money. In fact, most of our clients are able to retire 4 or 5 years earlier than they thought they could. Right? They just didn't know it.
Yeah, and that's really important and very key. You might not think that you're ready to retire because maybe you saw this article too, and you saw 1.4. You're like, oh, I don't have 1.4 million. Okay, who cares? Maybe you have enough for the income you need. So talk to us and let's give you an income plan. As you mentioned, most of our clients retire several years earlier than they thought was possible, and they have more income than they thought they were going to have as well. And maybe 1.4 isn't nearly enough. Maybe 2 or 3 or 5 million is what you need, but maybe you already have that, or maybe you're very close. And instead of waiting to get to a certain number in the bank or in the investment account, work to a certain number of income that's sustainable. That's the key. It's all about income. It's not really about the amount you have that you can, because it's easy to have a great account balance statement. You can print it off on the printer, put it in a frame, put it on your wall and admire it all day. Look, I have this money. You can write a check for it and print it on the wall. You have this check you can cash. But if you don't actually cash the check, don't actually start spending it, then it's not doing you any good. And it's not doing your family any good. So go to our website, riskfeestaxes.com, and find out about that. And let's give you a way to minimize not just the risk of running out of money, but the risk of the tax increases. If you've done some planning ahead of time to minimize those taxes, what they're going to be. And then fees, which we don't talk enough about on the program. The fees are really, really killer. I mean, ran across a client just the other day that had over 3% in fees every year he was paying to his advisor. It's like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. I mean, imagine 3% of $2 million. That's 60 grand a year.
Every year.
That's a new car every year.
And so I said, oh, you want to take 4% out to retire? Well, now you're taking 100,000 out every year. Now you're taking 10%,
4% plus 3 is 7%.
I think 7% out.
And the advisor's getting more out of it than you are.
Exactly. And it's just a whole big mess when you don't handle all three. A lot of people focus on 1 or 2 of those, but we got to get rid of risk, fees, and taxes. So again, go to our website, riskfeestaxes.com, and we'll talk to you soon.